Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and hail to you. Welcome back to another enlightening episode of the Havamal in Depth. I'm your host, the Stoic Lokean, and today we embark on a journey into stanza 22 of the Havamal, exploring the profound insights it offers on dealing with the miserable and ill-conditioned. Before we jump in though, could I just ask that if you're enjoying this series, you just take a moment to leave me a review, share with your friends and social media channels. That would be very much appreciated. So, join me then as we unravel the wisdom encapsulated in these ancient verses. Stanza 22 reads, "A miserable man and ill-conditioned sneers at everything. One thing he knows not, which he ought to know, that he is not free from faults." So, this stanza holds a mirror to the behaviours of those who, instead of seeking growth, find solace in criticising the world around them. So, let's delve into the layers of meaning within these lines. From an Old Norse perspective, this stanza for me echoes the importance of self-awareness and humility. The miserable man, for example, described here is one who, instead of recognising his own faults, derides everything and everyone. In Old Norse culture, the value of self-reflection and acknowledging one's imperfections was most likely paramount. If we take the example of community and frith, in Norse society, community bonds known as frith were highly valued. Frith represented not only a state of peace and camaraderie within the community, but also a mutual sense of responsibility and trust, much like it does now within modern day heathen kindreds and organisations. Acknowledging one's imperfections, therefore, contributed to the maintenance of frith. It allowed individuals to be aware of their own flaws and work towards self-improvement, fostering an environment of understanding and forgiveness within the community. Stanza 22, therefore, serves as a cautionary tale against the pitfalls of arrogance and the ignorance of one's own shortcomings. If we link that to an Old Norse saga, the tale of King Geirröd, taken from Grimnismal, the sayings of Grimnir, while not directly associated with stanza 22, it does serve as a relevant illustration of the consequences of arrogance and the importance of self-awareness. The story involves Odin, the Allfather, who, in disguise as an old man named Grimnir, visits King Geirröd's court. Geirröd, unaware of Odin's true identity, mistreats the guest, subjecting him to various trials and challenges. Throughout these ordeals, though, Odin maintains his typical composure, balanced, absorbing what's going on around him. The saga highlights the dangers of arrogance and the folly of mistreating others without understanding their true nature. In this context, it aligns with the message of stanza 22, cautioning against being a miserable man who sneers at everything. King Geirröd's actions, as in most sagas of Norse mythology, lead to dire consequences, emphasising the importance of humility and the recognition of one's faults. The tale of King Geirröd teaches us about the perils of hasty judgment and mistreatment of others, much like the stanza does. Geirröd's failure to see beyond appearances and his ill treatment of Odin, a god in disguise, results in his own downfall. In the context of stanza 22, the miserable man who sneers at everything may therefore be compared to King Geirröd. Both characters exhibit a lack of self-awareness, blindly criticising the world around them without acknowledging their own faults. The saga serves as a cautionary reminder to approach others with empathy, humility, and an awareness of our own imperfections. From a Stoic interpretation, I'd like to draw this time on Seneca the Younger. If we gaze through the lens of Seneca, a luminary in the Stoic tradition, Seneca, a Roman philosopher known for his profound insights into human nature, provides a Stoic interpretation that resonates with the themes of humility and self-awareness encapsulated in this stanza. Much like Seneca's Stoic counterparts, he considered humility a hallmark of wisdom. In his writings, he often urged individuals to acknowledge their limitations and embrace the vast unknown. The miserable man, described in stanza 22, who sneers at everything without recognising his own faults, would, in Seneca's eyes, lack this fundamental wisdom. To Seneca, humility was not a surrender to weakness, but a gateway to true insight. The Stoic philosophy of Seneca also emphasised liberation from arrogance. The miserable man ensnared in sneering at everybody may, in Seneca's view, be bound by the chains of arrogance. And I think that's quite obvious if you read the stanza back a couple of times, at least for me anyway. Seneca often spoke of the freedom that comes from breaking these shackles, advocating for the embracing of humility and the acknowledgement of our shared human fallibility. Is that a word? Fallibility? Yeah, I think it is. Rigorous self-examination was a cornerstone of Seneca's Stoicism and Stoicism in general, to be fair. Stanza 22, with its emphasis on acknowledging one's faults, aligns seamlessly with Seneca's call for regular self-scrutiny. Seneca would likely commend the individual who recognises the need for self-improvement and actively strives to overcome personal shortcomings. Acceptance of imperfection was another key tenet to his philosophy. The miserable man who sneers at everything, unwilling to accept imperfections in himself and others, might, in Seneca's eyes, be caught in a cycle of discontent. Seneca often stressed the importance of embracing the imperfect nature of existence with tranquility and acceptance. His Stoicism, again, like Stoicism in general, is rooted in the pursuit of virtue, encompassing humility, wisdom, and self-awareness. The miserable man in the stanza, detached from the Stoic ideal of virtuous living, becomes a cautionary figure. He would likely encourage the individual, or Seneca would likely encourage the individual, to reconnect with virtue by embracing humility and recognising the shared humanity in all. I think one of my favourite quotes from Seneca that I feel aligns with today's episode is, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This quote underscores the Stoic emphasis on finding contentment in the present moment, embracing humility, and letting go of excessive concerns about the future. It aligns with the idea of recognising one's faults, practising self-awareness, and pursuing wisdom for a more fulfilling life. Bringing this ancient wisdom into our contemporary lives, the stanza encourages us to reflect on our own behaviours and attitudes. In a world where criticism and negativity can abound, it serves as a reminder to cultivate self-awareness and choose constructive responses over cynical sneers. The age of social media and constant connectivity has given rise to a culture where criticism is prevalent. Stanza 22 prompts us to be mindful of how we engage with the world. Are we, like the miserable man, quick to sneer and find fault without acknowledging our own imperfections? Or do we embody the humility to recognise our faults and respond with wisdom? In the pursuit of personal growth and positive social interactions, cultivating self-awareness is key. Stanza 22 challenges us, therefore, to look inward, acknowledging our faults and shortcomings. By doing so, we not only foster a more constructive and empathetic mindset, but also contribute to a healthier and more harmonious community. In conclusion, Stanza 22 serves as a timeless guide for navigating interactions with those who, instead of recognising their faults, choose to sneer at the world. Whether in the context of Old Norse culture, the saga of Grimnir, or through the lens of Stoic philosophy, the lessons resonate across time. Before I sign off, as always, I will read stanza 22 one more time. A miserable man and ill-conditioned sneers at everything. One thing he knows not, which he ought to know, that he is not free from faults. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of stanza 22. If you found these insights invaluable, consider liking, subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing with your friends and social media networks. Your support is truly appreciated. Until next time, may the wisdom of the Havamal guide you on your journey. Thank you, and hail to you.